This video contains major spoilers for Persona 5 Royal. The third card in the tarot deck. Number 2, the High Priestess. It represents our own ability to attain inner knowledge and peace. It is paired with the Magician, and, together with him, she is the second person the Fool meets on his journey. In the Persona series, the Priestess is typically associated with women struggling to accept who they are because of the expectations placed upon them by their families. And that is no different for Persona 5. The High Priestess Arcana is that of Makoto Niijima. I'm Ouroboros. Let's talk. If you missed my video on the Fool's Journey, I'd recommend that you watch it before jumping into this series. It goes over the Fool's Journey and gives a brief rundown of each of the major arcana, so go check it out. Anyway, like I said earlier, the High Priestess Arcana typically reflects a female party member struggling with accepting who they are. In tarot cards, the High Priestess is typically associated with a variety of things, but the word that I see get tossed around the most is intuition. She's kind of the go with your gut card. Sometimes, whether consciously or subconsciously, we know the answer to a question. That's what the High Priestess represents. To me, she also represents self-reflection and the ability to make inward changes to positively impact one's life. The outer changes, i.e. desires, resourcefulness, manifestation, those are relegated to the Magician. It should be noted that the High Priestess is typically depicted between two pillars in Solomon's Temple. The one on the right is called the Pillar of Establishments, and the left, the Pillar of Strength. They are supposed to show us the two sides of life, good and evil, masculine and feminine, negative and positive, kind of like the tarot version of yin and yang. Makoto is pretty reflective of the priestess, both the good and the bad qualities. Throughout the main story, we are made very well aware of how smart she is, how she's a model student, all that crap. It's beaten into our skulls that she's smart and she's a very logical person. Part of the reason why I, and many other people like Makoto so much, is because she feels like a character who wasn't introduced to become a phantom thief. She feels like a person who was already a part of the world, who then became a phantom thief. Does that make sense? She was introduced way before her awakening and the Kanoshiro arc, which makes her feel much less like a plot device. But anyway, Makoto is smart, and almost too smart for her own good. We see her get into spats with the early Phantom Thieves, Akechi, and even a small disagreement with Kobayakawa. This is where we really see her priestess roots. She's misguided here. She's doing what she's told because that's what she's always done. It's become second nature for her to listen to authority figures and do what she's told, which is, incidentally, the reversed meaning for the priestess. Internal confusion, repressed intuition, cognitive dissonance are all things associated with a reversed priestess. And that's how Makoto begins her journey. She starts off just going with the flow, and it's not until her awakening that we see her true colors. This is her own justice, and her design reflects a complete personality 180 within her. She's a biker, which is someone not usually associated with following the law of the land. So we see with just this one scene that her cognitive dissonance has turned into consonance. Fortunately, we do get many more scenes with her because she stays relevant throughout the story more than just about any other Phantom Thief. We learn that her reason for joining the Phantom Thieves was to hopefully change her sister's heart. Sai's sense of justice has become corrupt because of their father's death, as well as the brutally competitive Japanese justice system. To me, these two are foils of each other. Where Makoto self-reflected, listened to herself, and eventually found the inner strength to find her own justice, Sai didn't. She listened to those around her, and her own ambitions led to her own downfall. They both coped with their father's death the only way they knew how. Makoto became a pushover, and Sai became obsessed with moving up. But this video is about Makoto, so let's get back to her. I'm not a big fan of Makoto's confidant. I know many people aren't, and even though it makes sense within the context of the Priestess Arcana, that doesn't really do enough to make me enjoy it. I think it starts off strong with Makoto attempting to bridge the gap between her and others her age. She's been so focused on doing the right thing that she's become a little socially inept. Unfortunately, it transitions into her butting into Eiko's love life. I wish they would have just focused on their relationship with each other instead of getting Tsukasa involved. There's limited time in these confidants, so I think getting too many characters involved wasn't a good choice for Atlas. But I digress. She does learn a lot about herself throughout this journey. She talks a lot about her own vision of justice, but here, we see that more in depth, a more concrete version instead of the lofty, idealized version of it. And of course, we do get more background into what shaped her and Sai so much: their father's death. I think more than anything, what Atlas was trying to do with this confidant was put Makoto into a scenario where she needs to question who she is and what she wants. You know, High Priestess stuff. And there are genuinely fantastic scenes in her confidant. The scene when it's just the two of you talking in the student council room is really well done. It's also super long, probably because it's her self-reflecting about her past. I would have even been fine with a little bit of Eiko and Tsukasa stuff because it does lead her to the realization that she wants to be a police commissioner. However, I still think that the focus on them is too much. But that realization is a bit of a hypocritical one. Makoto does acknowledge this. They're operating outside of the law as the Phantom Thieves, but she wants to go into law enforcement. As any High Priestess would, she recognizes the situation and resolves to keep fighting with you for now, and then focus on her career ambitions once things have finally settled down. I know Makoto is a fan favorite. I've always had a soft spot for strong and self-sufficient women.
Are all the employees here like you? You've got some pretty classy moves for a corporate girl.
The more that you know, the shorter your life will be.
I love the kind of woman that will actually just kill me.
I think her story throughout the main journey is super well done, and I appreciate that they took the P3 approach to her and kept her relevant throughout the whole game. Unfortunately, I felt that her confidant suffered slightly because of that. We get to see her self-reflect, as any High Priestess would, but is too focused on the outside forces that shape that self-reflection, rather than what she does to trigger that introspection. She represents the good and the bad, the Phantom Thieves making a positive change outside of the law, and the police making a positive change within the law. That is the culmination of her inner journey through the game, and in becoming the High Priestess of Persona 5. Thanks for watching.